Who could be the Gators' top draft picks for the 2026 draft? I have a top name in my mind. I wonder if you're the same. I'm thinking of Caleb Banks.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. Is he a 5th-year guy this year or a 4th-year guy?
4th-year guy, I believe. Yeah, he's a 4th-year guy. I'm pretty sure.
So that definitely would I could definitely see that. That would make a lot of sense to me. I mean, maybe I don't know. Does Pup Howard have the size to be like?
I don't think Pup is like. I have 3 guys in mind that I think could end up being first-round draft picks. The first one, Caleb Banks. We saw a lot of hype for it at the end of this year, especially after the LSU and Ole Miss games, is really when scouts really started to take notice and the dominance he was having in those games. I mean, getting 7 sacks on an LSU offensive line, that's going to have 3 draft picks and like a and like the 4th guy who was like a 5th-year player for him, who's a really solid SEC guard. So that game, and then Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss's offensive line isn't great, but still dominating against a top 10 opponent. I think that's my number 1 option right there. Number 2, I don't know if he has the upside of Banks. I think Tyreek Sapp. I think he's a little bit too in between of being a edge rusher and like a defensive end. That could cause him to fall and maybe have like an upside of like late first round and not even being able to get into like the mid or early first rounds. Like I could see Banks going top 15 if he has like a really good year. I don't think Sapp could go higher than like 27th, but I could see Sapp going like 30. I could see him going like 28, 29. And then the last one's a bit more of a wild card. I really only say it because I've seen it mocked from other I was going to say bracketologists, but from other people like PFF, Austin Barber. People are really high on Austin Barber's upside. I think it's also at right tackle, which, right tackle really could limit where you're drafted because you usually don't draft a right tackle in the first rounds. Tackles going in the first are usually for left tackle, but saying tackle a lot. But yeah, I could see Barber if he has a really good year. They talked about his injury issues he's had in the past 2 years, which has really prohibited him from playing really well at left tackle and made a lot of people think he should go back to the right. But if he has a good year here, he could sneak into that first round for sure.
Yeah, Austin Barber was also, I think, maybe the top name I was going to say as like sort of a sleeper. Like we saw this year in the draft. I mean, there was a bit of a run on tackles. It was a pretty deep class in that regard. And I mean, I think sometimes guys go a little earlier than you would expect. So like, I'm not sure he's a first round talent, but would it shock me if he were to be I think he needs to take a step. Like, I think if he can, like,
I'll say
takes another step.
Josh Simmons was the last pick of the first round this year. I could see Austin Barber being that role right there, where you have a really good team that, maybe they have a tackle, but like they still have one spot open. I could see Barber being that pick right there.
Yeah. Rob, I don't think he's really good, but the centers don't go unless they think he can play guard. And if they think he can play guard, maybe, but even then guards don't really go in the first round.
Like much. The last center to go in the first round, I'm pretty sure was Creed Humphrey like 2 or 3 years ago. Now, here's the thing. When, if a team really needs a center and there is a good one, they could, like the Chiefs did end up taking Creed Humphrey in the first rounds. But if it's just one team that needs him, they can probably wait until the second or third round even. So it's kind of out of Jake Slaughter's control unless he just ends up having the best season you've ever seen from a center. It's like, okay, we have to take this guy.
Which, like, even then, it's still a center is kind of the problem. Like, again, maybe if they think he can play guard. I think did 2 guards get drafted in the first round? I know it was Tyler Booker and then the Ohio State dude. I think Ohio State guy got drafted.
Donovan Jackson? Did he get drafted in the first round?
I know, yeah, it was Tyler Booker for sure. Yeah, Donovan Jackson got drafted in the first round.
And Gray Zabel, or I think he's
and Gray Zabel. That's right. I forgot about Gray Zabel.
Yeah, Donovan Jackson as well. So 3 guards went in the first round. So
if he can play guard, maybe. I don't think so either. Is the thing. Yeah, like
he's been so successful at center. It's like you gotta stick to your guns.
Yeah, I mean, he'll just be the guy. He'll just be there's one every year. He'll be the coveted center that goes pick 40 or something like that in the second round. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's like the linebacker position. The first linebacker taken, even he was a reach according to most people. Carson, I don't know how to pronounce his last name for UCLA, but it's just like linebacker. They don't really go that highly.
Mm-hmm. I would say, what do you think? Because I mean, like obviously injuries are going to be a concern here, but I think if Devin Moore has a clean, healthy season, I
That's
think
also
he could boost his stock a lot. Because
I
would think most of the concerns with him are about health, not really ability when healthy. So
yeah, I could see. So I actually was talking about this with someone else last night, or the night before, and I had lists of like who will get drafted, not where. My surefire, I had 3 were Banks, Sapp, and Slaughter. Those were my top 3, and that's what I mentioned. Mm-hmm. Very likely Austin Barber, and then I had one other player, J. Michael Sturdivant, because I could see because he just has the intangibles to be a great wide receiver. So I could see him being here, maybe having a middling season, 500, 600 yards. But he has the speed, he has the size to really go and be a NFL wide receiver that someone's probably going to take him in the 4th round, 5th round at worst. Now, I could also see him getting up to like a 2nd or 3rd. I don't think he can get to the 1st. I mean,
no, I was about to say 2nd seems like the ceiling to me for a guy like Sturdivant.
So that's like where I probably was my next guy. But you go to Devin Moore. I mean, we just talked about him a little bit ago, saying that if healthy, I know people that think he could end up being a 1st-round corner because he has the speed, he has the physicality, he has good size. He really has everything a corner needs, except for the fact that he's getting injured every single year, and nearly every single week it feels like he's getting injured. If he can stay healthy, like he wouldn't. I don't think if he gets hurt at all, like misses 1 or 2 games, I don't think there's any chance he can go in the 1st. Yeah. Like even if he has a really good season. Well, who was the corner? There was a corner from Virginia, Caleb Farley. He was a corner for Virginia Tech who like 2 years ago ended up being a 1st-round pick. People were talking about like maybe the best athlete in the class. I think he went like in the late teens or 20s. And the big question was, he's just injured every single year for Virginia Tech. So, and I think he went to Miami maybe, and he hasn't really done anything because of injuries. Yeah. So teams are going to look at that, and that could hold him back.
And truthfully, like I agree. I think if there's any injury problems next year, that ship is probably sailed. But like to be honest, it's possible it already has. Even if he has a clean, healthy season, the injury history would probably still be an albatross around his neck. It's just a question of how big of an albatross it would be. And just given the way the NFL guys handle these things, I mean, we saw Will Johnson, who was maybe from a pure talent perspective, the best corner in the class outside of Travis Hunter, fell all the way to the 2nd round because he's coming off a ACL injury, I believe.
That sounds right.
And yeah, so these injury things can obviously tank an otherwise really good prospect, and Devin Moore's had a lot of them throughout his career, but yeah, I mean, I think if he comes out and plays in every game and doesn't have to come off the field in those games and does it at a, 2nd team all SEC level or something like that, then like, yeah, absolutely. I could see that happening.
Now, the next list of guys I had were probably, so I had the surefire with Banks, Sapp, Slaughter, likely with JMS, Barber, I had more under probably. It's just injuries it's tough to say with injuries. The next guy I have that I think probably, I'm pretty confident he'll get drafted. I don't think he's the highest ceiling, Damian George. I think Damian George is smaller. I think he's a good, his scheme fit is some teams going to really like him. I think he can go in that 4th or 5th round, maybe 6th rounds. I feel confident he gets drafted because he's solid, but he's not like going to be a high level player. He can be a good player for a lot of teams. So he's like next, like I feel comfortable he gets drafted, but I don't think he's taken too high. The next 2 names I talk about are 2 names who last year, I don't think a single Gator fan even knew who they were. George Gums. George Gums, really good size, pretty good speed, actually. We're going to see him more off the edge this year, which probably will determine how high if he can get drafted. We don't really know how athletic he really is, because I've seen people say that he could just be a really good scheme fit under Ron Roberts that allows him to play really well at his position. But if he comes off the edge this year and has a really good year, I think he's someone that could just shoot up draft boards. Because again, I talk about his size and his speed. I mean, he's someone that could probably get up to a 2nd round pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see if, especially if he kind of like specializes a little bit more as a pass rusher this year, because I think my only concern with Gums is he almost feels like maybe like a little bit of a tweener to me. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if I like an NFL teams would view him as like a pure edge rusher, but maybe if that's the emphasis this year and he goes out and gets 7.5 sacks or something really good, like we might be talking about, yeah, we could be talking about that with him. I think, sorry, I'm trying to remember who you talk about that I wanted. Oh, Damian George.
George.
Yeah, he feels exactly to me like the kind of offensive lineman, interior offensive lineman that goes in that early day 3, like exactly like what you said. He's kind of the prototypical player there. Like nothing's gonna blow you away from a measurables or a testing standpoint, but very experienced, very solid. And like those are kind of the guys you look for with what are going to be like depth and maybe even fringe roster spots.
All right.
Has anyone gotten
And
picked since we talked about this?
no, I'm keeping an eye on it. It's because the round ended, so they went like a 10-15 minute period without anyone being drafted.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they've now done. Let me check. I have it right here. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks, and they just went to commercial in the 6th rounds. A kicker just went, the Miami kicker, to New England. So
gotcha. Well, I got a text. There goes your boy, and I don't know who it's referring to. I don't know if it's referring to a Florida player or somebody else.
Before the kicker was Kyle McCord.
JJ McKees. That's McCord because I've been saying
McCord.
This week I'm kind of Kyle McCord pilled. I like Kyle.
He went to
McCord
Eagle.
Like
he went to the Eagles.
Quarterback. Ooh, I like that a lot for Philly. I like McCord as a starter. He's from
some big names.
He's from Philly. He's from Philly. I'm pretty sure now that I think about it.
Oh, yeah. There's actually been some big names here in this round. Dorian Strong, corner from Virginia Tech. I remember there was talk about him being a 1st or 2nd round guy going into the year. Ollie Gordon went to Miami, and the 3rd pick of the 6th. JJ Pegues to Vegas. It's interesting. Don't really need to get into it too much actually, but and Kyle McCord, the kicker for Miami. Yes, I think at least one of Badger or Brendan Crenshaw-Dixon will get drafted. I think both will. Jaquez Bridges could also be a 7th round guy. I'm surprised that Bridges hasn't got more smoke and like more talk about, because I thought he was really good. But
especially with his versatility. Like those are the kind, like NFL likes those DBs with the positional versatility like that.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we'll get back to this. I said there were 2 guys that no one really knew before last year. George Gums one. The second being Jacoby Jackson. I mean, we saw it in the spring game. We saw it last year when he played, average nearly 6 yards a carry. I mean, Jacoby Jackson looks really good. He's a downhill physical runner, but he also has really good speed. I mean, if we didn't have Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson was a starting running back going into the year, I'd still be really happy, because I think Jacoby Jackson is going to be a really good player for us. Does he have 2 years now because of the JUCO thing? I think he has 2 more years with us, technically.
That's a good question. I kind of expect, assuming he plays the role we think he does, that this is probably his last ride. I would think.
Yeah.
It's because he's a running back and he's already in his 5th, counting JUCO, he's already in his 5th year.
So right? He does have 2 more years.
Okay.
I think he could have a really good season. And I mean, I don't know how high he could go. But like, because I mean, we saw the run of running backs earlier in the 4th rounds.
Where I think just 3rd or 4th.
ETN.
You could see 3rd or 4th for him.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't think and then I have Pup Howard. You brought up Pup a little bit ago. I don't know. I think Pup's ceiling might be like 4th rounder. I don't know if I saw enough of him this year because he did get injured later in the season. Yeah. He was probably our best linebacker early on. Like, he was easily our best, most consistent linebacker early on. But that was when like everyone else on the defense was playing pretty bad. So it's it's like, it's easy to be the best, but it's harder to stand out as the best. So if he would have played in the final stretch of the season, maybe he could have stood out and I could have a further grasp. I could see him being in a spot that Shamar was, where Shamar James was at the end of this year, where he was someone that we really like, but it's like, okay, you have Putt Mine, you have Miles Graham, Aiden Childs, Ty Jackson, Jaden Robinson. It's like there's so many talented young players behind you that It's like you can enter the portal and go be the number one linebacker for 98% of teams in the country, or you can stay here. Your playing time is going to be split with this high 4-star freshman Miles Graham or like Jaden Robinson. You know what I mean? I could see him getting stuck in a situation like that, but he could get drafted. But I don't know if he will, or I don't know if he'll even go into draft.
Well, and that kind of plays into what I was going to say about him too, which is like he's going to have these young guys nipping at his heels this season. So if he holds that role and stays on the field and is good, I mean, I think he could boost his stock in that way just because if he's not losing snaps to some of these the sophomores or whatever, or even like a true freshman, then obviously he's playing pretty well. So
yeah. All right, then I have two players really talented players. I've listed them under the category. They won't be here next year. Now, they're not seniors, but they're players that I don't see them being here as a Gator next year. Trey Wilson, because I think it's going to go one of two ways. He has a really good season and is like a second or third round draft pick, kind of like what was his name for Ole Miss a couple years ago? Elijah something.
Elijah Moore. Yeah. Right.
Elijah Moore, that's right. Yeah. It's like he's going to be a slot receiver that has a really productive season, but slots don't have that high of a ceiling in the NFL like that. But he's going to be someone that's really exciting that people are going to fall in love with, and he goes in the second, maybe early third rounds. Or he's going to get injured. They're just going to do a lot of gimmick plays with him that don't really do anything, and he ends up transferring to Eugene, Oregon.
Agree.
And then the second player I have on here, Jordan Castell. I mean, it's kind of the same where it's like we haven't seen really that much good from Castell. We saw it at the end of the year. He played a bit better, like the Ole Miss game in LSU. He played all right in, and then against two worst passing teams, he played pretty good against Tulane and FSU. But with Jordan Castell, it's either he has the size, he has the physical tools to be a guy that he's 6'4", pretty good speed, someone that could end up being a first round safety, like at his peak, I should say. But we've seen a lot of missed bad coverage from him here at Florida. His tackling is pretty good. I'll give him that. But it's either going to go really well for him, or it's just going to be like, okay, we have these two freshmen that have come in. They're bringing in more freshmen in the 2026 class that are pretty highly rated. Zaquan Patterson maybe even coming. He was also a top 100 guy. It's like, you just been a mess starter for us. It's time for him to transfer out and go to like a Pitt and be their best safety. So,
yeah. Well, especially because with Castell, it's like if he's not playing at a high level, he's going to lose his job. Like we'll see if any of these freshmen are ready, but still kind of hope you're going to go get a transfer safety. Like there's guys here, like he's not just going to stay on the field if he's not playing well. So yeah, I kind of agree. I think he's either it works and he probably has the talent and the ceiling that he goes and is a day, probably an early day 2 kind of pick in the draft. Like maybe early mid day 2, or he loses his job and is portaling somewhere else. Yeah, I think it's hard to see like a middle ground where he stays and starts the whole year but isn't like great. Like I don't know, it's hard to foresee that.
And that's just when he transfers out. I mean, how much are you going to rely on freshman safeties? Like it's a lot like this year where it's like you're not going to put Greg Smith in over him because it's a true freshman safety, even when Castell was playing pretty.
But like if he's struggling, I mean, who knows where Lagonza Hayward and like Hilton Stubbs are at? But like I think if he's struggling, safety is like of all the positions you can play as a freshman, safety is kind of one where it's more doable than most. So it wouldn't shock me. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, and I think Castell will probably hold down the job if I had to bet. But I'm just saying, yeah, well, you'll see what happens there.
Steelers finally took their QB, Will Howard.
They did? They took Will Howard?
Yeah.
Okay. He's from Western Pennsylvania too. So that 2 local quarterbacks for the really? Steelers and Eagles.
Was he? Let's see. Yeah, from Downingtown, West Pennsylvania. So literally from West Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And McCord, I'm almost positive McCord's from Philly too.
McCord. Okay. Getting back to these comments here, let's try to play the gears. About DeAndre, I assume this is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing. I'm not
Oh,
really
this
sure
I
what
forgot to
he's
mention as well.
referring
There
to.
was something on YouTube he posted that he immediately had to take down. So
Oh, I missed that whole saga. I don't even know what that's about.
wait, if you know, you know. He had it all planned out. That's why that band faked injury in the first quarter. So he faked an injury in the first quarter. I don't remember that at all. Yeah, I'm not gonna post the next one, but yeah. Yeah, Rob, we talked about it earlier. Brendan Bett from Baylor both decided it's a similar level player production wise, or higher production, less ceiling. I think Brendan Bett from Baylor is Brendan Bett from Baylor. Wow, say that twice as fast.
And he visited, correct? Just to clarify,
he's on campus right now.
Yeah. Okay.
He got here last night. Yeah. Is there anyone else? Oh, I didn't mention. If Trace Mack plays like how even in the spring game, he had a 56-yarder kick. If he plays like how he's been playing since the Georgia game, where he's making 50-plus yarders every single game, he will be drafted.
Have any gotten picked so far this year? I don't think so, right?
Miami, we talked about it a little bit ago.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I already blanked on that. My bad.
But yeah, if Smack continues to be nailing a 50-yarder every single game, he will get picked. I'm confident in that. So, Crawshaw could still theoretically also be picked in this year's draft. But no punter has been taken, and he's like the second or third best punter. So
I wouldn't expect. Is he really ranked that high among punters? I never got he was fine. I never got the impression. I never felt like Crawshaw was like an elite punter, but I guess he's viewed that highly.
Yeah,
I mean, still kind of think he doesn't get drafted though. But
yeah, I don't think he does either. I mean, and most of the time, punters you see in the NFL weren't drafted. I mean, punters especially are usually less often drafted.
Unless you're the Jags and you take one in the third round.
Should be taken in the third round.
That was Brian. It was a long time ago. It was like Brian Anger.
Oh, Brian Anger,
2013 or something like that.
Yeah. At least he's been he was a pretty good punter a little bit, you know.
He was one of the best punters in the league for a while.
Yeah.
So at least if you're gonna take a punter in the third round, at least get an elite one.
Yeah. Didn't we draft a kicker last year? Who was it? Was it the Michigan kicker?
Cam Little from Arkansas, I want to say.
That's right, Arkansas.
Yeah, he was good as a rookie.
Yeah, all right. Is there anyone else for the 2026 class? You know, Harrison Bailey? No.
I mean, unless you think Bryce Thornton or Dijon has taken some major
leap. I don't think Thornton go. I don't think Thornton. Well, I could see Thornton starting again next year.
Yeah, I'm just talking about guys who are just talking guys who are even eligible for the draft this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he could go. Dijon. I could see Dijon leaving.
Wouldn't shock me. He would need a good season
year.
Yeah, he would need a
really I mean, he's coming off an injury though, so
yeah.
I don't know how.
Well, it's like one of those things. If Devin Moore has injury problems, maybe that gives him an opportunity to step up and be kind of the number one. But I can maybe see that happening. But hopefully that's not the case.
Anyone else on the D line? I mean, Lions. If Lions has a really good year, he could theoretically leave. Linebackers. We already talked about Pup. Jada Robinson also theoretically could leave. So
I have a hard time believing it though.
Offensive line, Levet seems like he's going to be starting at right tackle. I've talked about it last year. I've liked Levet since the Miami game last year at guard. If he is as good at tackle as he is at guard, I could see him having a really good year and being like a third or fourth round pick. But I think there's a really good chance we're able to get him to come back, even if he has a really good season.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a mistake probably on his part to leave as a redshirt sophomore to be a third or fourth round pick. If you come back and
that's why I think we'll get him to come back.
Yeah.
So I think that's about everybody. I mean, Tommy Domi.
Maybe. I mean, who knows, but could be.